Hi there, I'm Gary Haupt, and I live in Kitimat, British Columbia, way up north, BC, close to the Alaska border. If you're into the news at all, it's where all the pipelines, the LNG, the oil, big stuff. And so this is number 2 of I have no idea how many stories I've got sort of socked away in my Santa Bay. But I wanted, you know what, I used to type them out for my blog, and I was never really able to, I don't know, I was never satisfied that I could put the feeling into it. So I sort of thought, oh, I'm going to try this. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, hey, it's good fun. So my first story was about some kids, 2 children, receiving toys from Santa at a hospital. And I'm going to continue with the hospital story. And I was a Santa Claus at the Royal Columbian Hospital for many years. And there would be choirs throughout the Christmas season. Christmas Eve was the big one, right? I want to say the hard one, and I guess it was the most emotional one. But things happened all of the time. There were different choirs, right? No one choir came in more than one time. So anyway, there was a particular choir, and I have no idea if they still do this or not. But Korean children's choir. And young kids, right? They're probably 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, if I can read, something like that. And all dressed up and hard. You know, the hospital air. Anytime you're working in a building with recycled air, you get all dried out. And children, I mean, their attention span, it kind of just disappears after a while. But these kids were fabulous and focused. So anyway, they would have all their songs were English or English songs, except for one. They had a Korean traditional Christmas carol that they would sing, and on the surgical floors and a couple of others as well. The floors are so huge. They made each floor had 2 nurses stations, so they would sing as they walked down the hall. And they would sing the children's, the traditional choir, Korean song. And I'm thinking they sang it twice on each floor, once at that nurse's station and then once on that nurse's station. And I could be wrong. But anyway, I believe that that's what happened. So I know that we were on the 3rd floor at the Royal Columbian, which is the post-op. People that have had surgery or they're going in for surgery like tomorrow, so they're put up. But by and large, people that have had surgery. And I like to say we, but it wasn't me singing. But Santa was leading the choir, leading the charge, right? So any choir in the hospital would get the Santa and a couple of other volunteers as well. And we just had to do that to make sure everything was looked after. So they've sung their songs, one of which was the Korean children's choir song. And we are on our way out. We go past that particular nurse's station, and we're heading for the stairwell down to the next floor. And a nurse came out of her room and asked if they could go in and sing in this gentleman's room. And time is always of the essence. I mean, you have no time to do this, but you never ever say no either. I mean, it takes a lot of time. So if you get caught up in going into patients' rooms, you can understand it just sucks all the time out of the evening. But again, you never said no. Just don't do that. Anyway, a group of the choir kids went in with Santa, and they sang a song. But the gentleman in the bed, he had I'm going to presume a family member. Somebody was with him, and was asking, and it might have been the nurse even. This goes back a long time. But somebody said, could they come in and sing that Korean children's song, the Korean traditional Holy Dinah. So, of course, absolutely. And so the director of the choir, I'm, for the life of me, I have no idea what her name was, but brings all of the children into this room, and they sing this song in Korean. It's a beautiful song. I found it one time on for my for my blog, and there's tears. Tears are the man's got tears in his face. The person beside his bed has got tears. The nurse has got tears. And when that happens, I do anything but look at them because that means that I too will be crying. So anyway, they sing this song, and okay, we got to go. So out they go and turn down the corridor, and they're heading for the staircase. I always stayed behind because I was a volunteer at the hospital. I just felt it was part of my responsibilities then to make sure everything was, and it was. Everything was fine. And but the nurse told me the story. This man was actively dying. That's what it's called, actively dying. So death being imminent. This man had served in Korea with the Canadian forces under the United Nations administration and had been there in the Christmas of 1950. And so now we're looking at, I don't know, we'll call it 2000. I don't really remember what year it was, 2000, 2001, 2002. But 50 or 60 years has passed. And he was hanging on, and they really didn't know why. It's not uncommon, people that are dying. It's they are hanging on for something. Sometimes it's for somebody to get there so they can say goodbye to them. And this man was waiting to hear that song. And I guess, he knew, his soul knew that it was coming. And they heard it faintly in the hallway, right? Or from where the kids were singing. So when they came by, and then the kids came into his room and they sang a song, and he died. Not that very moment, but yes, he did. So, and that was just like, oh my God. And as I tell you this, right, I'm sitting here in my front room, in my dining room, and the cat's looking at me like I'm whack. And goosebumps. Such a moment. It was huge. It really was. And I am always filled with something. It's not pride. I don't know what it is, but that I was a part of that, and to have witnessed that, it was incredible. So there's a story. I hope you enjoyed it, and if so, if you want to come on and hear the rest of them, see how we make out here.